How's it going?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
Going alright. A bit tired. Slept like shite last night.
Oh, really? What
I
was
don't
going on?
know. I don't know. I just couldn't sleep. It still was on one of the nights where I just was lying there for ages and I would fall asleep for a couple of hours and I'd have to get up to pee and I couldn't get back to sleep again and it was just like fucking. Aye.
I had a night like that this week. Only it was because Lainey had pissed the bed,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Nanny is new. So I'm usually the first to go to my bed. So I crawl into bed, right? Crawl into bed early, mind you, because I was tired. And I'm like, why is this bed cold and wet?
Oh, Jesus.
And then it just like, it just kind of hit me like a bullet train, and I was just like. That way I was just too tired to be angry. I just keep basically threw the sheets off, threw them at Alan, and was like, "Get them in the top of the washing machine. I'm going to my bed." And I slept in like just like obviously there was no duvet, so it was just like a sheet.
Oof, man.
It was bad. So I mean, I'm up for like just a regular like a wee half-hour, 40 minutes podcast if you're feeling quite tired.
Yeah. I might go for a wee nap afterwards, to be honest. But
I was thinking of an interesting question for the pod. Are we live? Are we recording?
we have been.
Welcome, listeners. Welcome to the pod. It's an absolute privilege to get to have a conversation with my friend and have you all listen in. Here is a question. Obviously, we're older. We're older now, right? Like we are. We've learned from our experiences to a degree. Obviously, still got learning and experiencing to do, but for the most part, we're growing.
Yeah.
I would say. Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever came across someone or someone on the internet that is saying something that you maybe used to say, or like maybe you used to kind of partake in, but now you're kind of like, oh, that's cringe, or and now that I've grown up from that, because the internet's obviously a place full of like everybody, from the young to the old. So, you do get young people that are maybe like saying statements that. You know what I mean?
I've absolutely been in that. I've actually been in that situation. Yeah.
Talk about it.
God, try to remember now.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is because it happened to me today.
Okay.
In a really kind of like horrible kind of crystallizing way. On Reddit. So the caliber of people that we're dealing with here.
Yep.
And it was just this video of this older guy who was basically really out of order, saying the N-word, and this black guy basically slapped him silly.
Oh, I've seen that.
You've seen that,
I
right?
did see
that. I was foolish enough to engage with some people in the comments. And basically, whoever it was I was kind of talking to, I feel like they're in a world of their own. And I'm not saying that I'm completely like them, but they said something that basically was very familiar to me, that I was kind of like, oh, I feel like I need to shower now.
Oh God.
He basically said, it wasn't racist. Let me stress that enough. A point that I identified with was he was basically trying to say that while he's not racist, he doesn't believe that there's anything wrong in saying controversial statements, if like in the hope that they lead to like a conversation of greater understanding, which is really arrogant.
Right.
It's really arrogant thinking that there's been times when I was younger where I've been like, well, I should be able to say this because I'm smart enough to know that I'm not saying it with you're young and you're stupid and you have all these kind of reasons for why you're doing the things that you're doing. And when I seen this kind of old behavior kind of shone back at me like a reflection, I was just like, no, this is not the one. As I say, it's arrogance. You're just sitting there like, I know what's best for everybody, and I know the best way to do it. And I'm open and honest enough to say, I've said some really stupid shit, and I'm not the only one, and I won't be the last. That doesn't excuse it. But I've learned from it. I don't continually be that arrogant kind of person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's
And
all
it
you
was
can
just,
really do.
I mean, it was just really weird for me to be like, because everybody thinks that they're an individual, and no one thinks that someone else is going to exactly be like them. But when I seen someone who had a bad aspect to me a long time ago, it just made me feel dirty. I was just like, this is not good.
Yeah, that's fucking. It's like, is somebody fucking showing you a mirror image of your younger self that you don't like, basically, and you're just like, that's pretty bad shit, man. I'd fucking, I can't think of specific examples right now, but I definitely remember I have had situations where I've read like comments for people on like places like Reddit or YouTube comments, shit like that, and I've read them and I've cringed and been like, I remember I used to kind of think like that when I was like, like 18, 19, like really like a lot younger.
Younger, yeah,
and I'm
you're
just
younger.
like,
yeah.
wow, and I'm like, I'm so glad that I've fucking grown for that, and I don't think like that anymore, and that I fucking realised how stupid that fucking thinking is and all that.
Definitely. I mean, it kind of feeds into the kind of topic of like cancel culture and that kind of stuff. And if you've said some shit and you like, I think there should be like a clear distinction between if you are someone who's grown, especially in a day like that, like a day and age like this. If you're a grown ass person and you're still going about and you're just spouting horrible stuff, or you're spouting really ignorant statements that are not really founded in fact, anything other than what you've heard other people say on the internet. I think there should be like, if you're young, there should be I don't know, like a learning curve. There should be like, well, you're still young, without being patronising, obviously. Like you're still young, you've still got a lot to learn about the world, and that opinion might change. But I think if you're older, the likelihood of that opinion changing is very, very minimum. Very minimum.
It's a bastard because like that is one of the things that does annoy me, because like the whole cancel culture thing that does exist, it is good in a lot of ways to hold people responsible and hold people accountable for saying horrible things or doing horrible things. But there is obviously a lot of times where it does have moments where people try and cancel somebody for something that's really not necessary, or just is like such an insignificant thing. Like you see some fucking, I like somebody that I follow, all of a sudden they're like getting fucking, they're trending for some reason, and it's like, oh, they're getting cancelled, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck are they getting cancelled for? And I was like, oh, he said this racist kind of joke 10 years ago on this post, and I'm just like, really? Like, come on, 10 years ago. It's like, I can understand being upset by this, like, but it's like, it was 10 years ago. They've probably changed for then. They probably don't think like that anymore, or think that's okay anymore.
But
like,
I mean, the best way to
is this really worth the energy to cancel somebody, or like something that happened that long ago that they probably don't even like think about anymore? I'm just like shit like that. I'm just like, that just seems, it's just insane.
Like, I think that most of the time, especially with these like the kind of cancel crusades, is it somebody looking for it?
That's the hang into it.
It's somebody literally going, well, I'm going to check their 10, 20 plus years of internet history and engagements to see and make sure that everything they have said has always been polite, courteous, and progressive.
No.
It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
It's insane.
I do think that is insane. As you say, like if somebody carries an attitude, or if somebody is continuing a behaviour,
Aye.
and the behaviour has been pretty consistent for a long time, then absolutely cancel that person. But
Aye.
People make mistakes. People are human.
Mm-hmm.
And I've not always been, or I've certainly been very ignorant in my life, and I've sometimes been ignorant, but been so heart sure that I was correct. And if I feel like one of the people that I was kind of engaging with was saying that, well, this is how you make fascists. You know, if somebody does something slightly racist and you cancel them, well, then they're just going to turn, they're going to double down on their belief. And I don't know how you feel about that.
That's just, I get, because, what? Yes, because someone doing something wrong and then someone telling them the thing they've done is wrong is clearly not the right way to do. No, what you have to do is you have to make them is to say nothing and just hope that they come to that conclusion by themselves. That's clearly that's clearly the better way to do it.
Absolutely.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, they'll be fine next year. It'll all blow over. No, I don't get it.
What the fuck?
And I certainly do think that cancel culture. I mean, I think cancel culture really started, or it was really prominent with Harvey Weinstein.
That's pretty. I mean, that was like the
Me Too movement.
That's how that whole thing started, and then it's been. Aye.
And listen, having Harvey Weinstein, I mean, I don't think he's in jail. I might be wrong in that.
Actually, I'm actually curious. I don't remember the last time I heard about his situation and what is going on with him.
The last I'd heard, I
think he is in jail, isn't he?
It might be, but last I heard, he had really debilitating health.
Aye.
What the point I'm trying to make is that everyone from here to Timbuktu knows that guy's a predator. He is. Everybody knows what he is. He literally couldn't make a movie tomorrow if he wanted to, because people are like, "Well, I'm not working with you." So to me, that's a kind of good example of cancel culture. But do you remember? Was it James Gunn? And I think people cancelled him because he wore a shirt. And it was just just a shirt of women, or were the women topless? I can't remember.
What was that again? I remember that it was some fucking. I'm gonna look this up because I genuinely cannot remember what the fuck it was. But I remember that whole thing. It was because I remember a lot of people were like saying it was ridiculous that people were trying to cancel him on it, because he did get sacked, did he know?
He did, yeah. He lost the movie he was working on.
Aye, and then everybody was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was really weird how it was like, all of a sudden everybody was like down with James Gunn, and then the next moment it was like, oh no, but wait, what are we doing this for?
It was like a bunch of old jokes and shit, apparently, for like years and years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm. This is also part of I think the difficulty of it is that some people think they're a comedian, or some people think that they are a comedian, and they say jokes that they really have no way of delivering in a way that a proper comedian should. So while I'm not standing by jokes that maybe these types of people have made, I think it's important to realise that, or at least try and differentiate between when a joke is a joke and when hatred is veiled as a joke, if you know what I mean.
The kind of people that say a horrible thing and their decision for it to be a joke is dependent on how you respond.
Exactly.
So like they say something horrible, and if you agree with it, they're like, aye, but if you don't agree with it, they're like, hi, what a funny joke, eh? Yeah, okay, mate. What?
And I would recommend everybody try it at least once, where if someone says like a joke that's sexist, homophobic, racist, whatever, you know, when they deliver the punchline, look them dead in the eye and say, I don't think that that's funny. And watch the complete tonal shift of the room. You know, because it's a very, I think it's a very kind of, you know, if you don't like a joke, you should absolutely be able to stand up and go, I don't like that joke.
I also like the response of when someone says something, makes a joke like that you pretend, you act like you don't get it, and you try and get them to explain what it is, and then they have to then they then have to explain, and it makes it even, it makes it very uncomfortable for them, because
my personal experience has always been like, I've always, and you know this, like I've always had a very open, kind of open format for making fun of me for being gay.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been very lucky that the friends that I've given that platform with, like you and Frankie and Lee's and stuff, they've always kind of showed me the respect. You know, I know the difference that if you were to say a homophobic joke, I know that it would be a joke, and that would be between me and you. But obviously, like on a world platform or on a, say, something like Twitter or Reddit, it's a very different story because not everybody is going to have that personal experience with you.
That is the thing, isn't it? It's like some jokes, like certain jokes, you can really only say to people that you know well, and that you know will like find it funny and like know that you're like a joke. Like if I made a gay joke, and me and you were hanging out, it would be, the response you have is going to be completely different to just a random gay person that doesn't know me. Like it's obviously going to be completely different. So like people can't be like, oh, I said this. You know, they can't sit there and be like, oh, I heard this joke this guy said to his gay friend, and the gay friend thought it was really funny, so I'm going to just spout it randomly like online and all that. And it's like, I bet that's not going to be the same response because you don't know them and they don't know you, and there are certain things you can only really say if you're close friends and stuff that'll be funny because you know that's what friends do, is they, you know,
exactly, like
it's not the same shit.
And I mean, if I was, say, that hypothetical homophobic joke, say I went back and told that to Alan, and Alan really didn't like that, it'd be perfectly valid to not like that joke.
Exactly.
But I think the difference that I see certainly is people saying, you know, people hide their shitty opinions behind something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just a joke, or it's just my opinion, or that's, you know, what? I don't understand that. Like, you know, if you're a piece of shit and you hate other people, just say that.
No.
Don't waste my time by trying to make out that you're a good person, and you know, a nice person to be around, someone who wants to help people. Because no, don't waste my time with that.
It's people, they fucking any excuse they can use to say some horrible shit,
and get away with it.
They seem to think that being like it's just a joke is somehow exempts them from any consequence. It's like the cunts that fucking do these shitty pranks, and they think they feel like they should be able to just do anything to anybody at any point, and then just be like, oh, it's just a prank, and all of a sudden that makes it all right. It's like, no, you basically just assaulting people. That's not a prank. Like that's not what pranks are. Like you don't understand. Like I don't think you understand what a prank is.
It's like, a prank to me is a catch-all term that means I can put an airbag under your seat, watch that go off, and watch you fly up, hit the ceiling, and then crash to the ground like a test dummy. And like shooting a water pistol at your crotch area so it looks like you've peed yourself.
No, some people think that's the same level.
Exactly. To me, that's like the parameters of what people think a prank is. It can be anything from like just really innocuous humor to possibly life-changing injuries for the prank.
No, it's fucking insane. And then they always act so surprised when people get upset at them.
The backlash, yeah.
The people get upset and fucking be shouting at them and like want to knock them out, and they'll be like, "What? It's just a joke. What are you fucking so mad about?" It's like because you're a cunt.
It is really weird how like oblivious people are to how much of a cunt they actually are. You know, like when people say stuff, and I'll talk about my own experiences, like as a gay person, like like, oh well, gay people can get married and that, so why are they still, why are they still annoyed?
Oh,
Or
that kind of shit.
all that kind of shit, and you're like, obviously you're airing a level of confusion you have because in your mind, legally gay people should be treated equally, so there's no problem for you.
It's like, oh, the law says that we are allowed to get married now. All of a sudden, homophobia is gone.
Homophobia ended.
That's how it works.
Overnight. And like, like I guess like going back to like saying ignorant things that when I was younger, I used to say stuff like, oh, I don't believe in gay pride. Because, and I was just being edgy, but growing up I've obviously realised the importance of taking pride in what you've been through, and the fact that you're here. And I don't think that's exclusive to gay people in the slightest, or I think everyone has a sense of pride that they can show. And I might be controversial here, unless you're white.
Yeah, I mean,
but to me, I don't see a problem with that.
Because that's the thing, because white people in Western countries don't have to deal with any kind of
oppression.
Or, if you're a straight white man, you have never dealt with any kind of oppression, unless you live in like fucking South Africa or something. Maybe that's maybe different, but like
some serious circumstances, yeah.
But other than that, if you live in like Europe or the US, like North America, you've never dealt. You're a straight white man. You've never dealt with any oppression at all. And you've no idea what other people are going through, what their lives are like. You've no fucking idea. And to try and act as if you should have an opinion on how of when they should feel like they're not oppressed is you just don't. You have no opinion on that because you have no idea.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would put it like this, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure that'll happen, but when white people complain about their life and they look around and oh, my life should be better, it's usually I should have a bigger house, or I should have a bigger car, I should have better clothes. But for a lot of like minorities, people of color, vulnerable people, they're just fighting to be recognized as part of society. For one, they're fighting to have, especially if they have additional needs, they're fighting for a house that they can live and actually just live in. Not a house that's working against them.
No.
Because every house is built for the average person. No house is built in mind of someone that has like scoliosis or someone that has that needs a wheelchair. So like, if you're a white person and you're like, oh well, why can't I be proud of being white? Or if you're ever feeling oppressed, just think about that. You only ever want something better than what you have. You're not fighting to have the basic things in your life.
It is insane. I feel like over the past few years, I've seen more and more that these kind of people, like they're so privileged in their life that they now seem to want to be oppressed because it's the one thing they don't fucking have.
True.
Like they seem so desperate to like be oppressed. Like every opportunity they're like, I see they're oppressing me because I'm fucking white, or oh, they're oppressing me. Like I'm Christian and they're oppressing me. It's like, mate, you live in the US, like
predominantly Christian country.
A predominantly mostly Christian country. Like of all the people that the country caters to in any way, it's going to be fucking you. You cannot sit there and try and act as if you're being oppressed in any way. You're insane.
It's so weird.
It's just, oh my god.
It's so weird because like a lot of people's opinion will be that oppression is essentially being caused by white people. White people kind of created this. Oh well, you're this and I'm up here. You're down there, so I'm up here, kind of thing. And I feel like these people that are moaning that, as a white Christian, they're oppressed or they feel like their identity is under attack. And it's kind of like, well, you're kind of the one doing the attacking most of the time. Nobody's even attacking you now, and you're trying to make it about you.
Aye.
It's like that drunk person at a party who nobody invited, nobody knows who they are, but for some reason everybody is now hearing about how their boyfriend split up with them, and oh look, they've just fell out and smashed the table.
Aye.
It's just so weird.
It's crazy, man. It's honestly, it's crazy to hear them try and spout this shit, and you're just sitting there like, do you actually believe this? Like, what the fuck?
Like, it's so weird. Obviously, everybody has a very different experience. Like, your experience, even though we're two white men, your experience is completely different from my experience. But neither of rely on the fact we're white.
No.
Nobody's got neither of us are you're posting on Reddit going like that. Oh, I'm an oppressed white person. I don't have millions of pounds. Right, and what? And what?
Exactly.
Like, and what?
It's fucking.
Bitch.
It's just people are crazy. People be mad as fuck.
People are crazy. I reckon we could probably do a spin-off podcast just basically saying, I hate people for this reason. And and it would just be this whole thing about how we just hate people. But I mean, I would like to say that I don't hate people. I think people are very frustrating. I think some people just need to get the fuck away from me because I don't have anything nice to say or impart towards that person. But understand that this world is not built for me. This world isn't here so that I can succeed. Or I certainly don't want to view it like that. I think that we're all here and we'll all might disagree. It's like a family, Some family you don't talk to, some you don't agree with, but you have to essentially live together. Whether I like it or not, there's racists out there that I need to live with.
Sadly.
Even if they don't have, even if they don't mean me personally any ill will, someone that would judge someone else on anything like that is just not somebody I would want to be near, deal with, engage with.
Pretty much. It's I'm just glad it's getting. It's getting no, it's not really getting dealt with. But I'm so happy about how nowadays, how often you see videos of these insane racists, homophobes, etc., being caught on film, getting filmed with a phone, doing these horrible things, saying these horrible things, and as soon as they realise they're being filmed, they know they're fucked, and they get so upset because they know they're fucked, because they know that's going to circulate. People are going to find out who they are, where they work, and they're going to lose their job. They're going to lose. They're going to lose the shit they've got going on. And all they had to do was keep their fucking mouth shut and respect people, and they would have been fine. But they couldn't do that. Yep. They couldn't possibly do that.
You bring up just a really good point that these people act so confidently, and with they act like God is behind them when they are spouting this hate and this vitriol. But then the minute somebody has their camera on them, they realise the possibility that everybody can see what they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gets them. Because they're like, well, everybody will completely everybody will agree completely that I am not the person in the right here. And that is not what I want for me. I always want to be in the right because I'm a piece of shit and I can't possibly entertain the notion that I could be wrong. and then they throw themselves onto the flare like a toddler in a tantrum.
It's a hang into it. It's like if the things you've got to say like that are so horrible that you don't want other people seeing it, then surely that is enough a hint that you're in the wrong and that you shouldn't be saying or thinking that way. If you're actually going to sit there and be like, if I say these things and it's caught on film and other people see it, I'm going to be in deep shit, then you shouldn't say it ever.
100%.
So why are you ever saying it?
I think for these people, as I say, sometimes they just act like God themselves is right behind this person and like encouraging them to do what they're doing. Like especially when you look at like videos of Karens, and especially like in a store,
Aye.
Where there is typically a lot of people, a lot of witnesses. It's not until a phone's on them that they start to freak out.
Aye.
That they're suddenly cowering behind something else, or they're trying to blame it on something else.
People that have never been told no, all of a sudden are getting told no, and they think that's making them. That's the thing. It's like these are the people that are like they've went their whole life so privileged and without ever being told no about stuff that is new that they're actually being told no, you can't do that, or no, you can't say that. They're like, oh, I'm being oppressed.
Yeah.
And it's like
100%.
You don't know what that is. If you think that being able to say horrible, offensive things is somehow without like consequences, it somehow means that you're being like oppressed in some way, or that your freedoms are getting took away, or some bullshit. It's like that's just no. You have no fucking idea. You are insane.
For me, it's kind of like it's kind of like you've got these people and they're in going back to the kind of toddler metaphor, they're in the creche, they're in the playgroup, whatever you want to call it, and the teachers went, right, listen guys, treat each other with respect, and that's it. And one person has been like, well, do you want to know what? I don't want to treat everybody with respect, and if you're making me do that, then you're a fascist.
So it's like I've up to this point in my life, I've always been able to treat people in any horrible way I wanted, and now you're telling me I have to treat them with respect. You're just
you're Hitler.
You're literally Hitler.
Literally Hitler.
That's their logic, and it's the most insane shit, man. They're just like, what?
I just kind of get my head around it sometimes. Like as I say, when when I was younger and when I was a little bit of a silly goose, I can see maybe, but being older, I can see that it's ignorant. It's held in ignorant views, and it's arrogance. I can, looking back on it now, I can obviously see how problematic maybe the things that I was saying could have been, but now, with the fucking wild ride that 2010 to 2022 has been, I think I've grown up a lot from my 20s to my 30s.
Same.
And I just don't understand how people people more grown or should be more grown than me, can sit there and very seriously claim that they're being oppressed because they're being asked to follow the letter to everybody else is. I don't know if you've seen this video. It wasn't in America. I think it was in Canada. I don't know where in Canada, but there was this couple, and I can't remember what it is. This guy got pulled over for whatever reason, and he just basically acted like a big spoiled brat about it. And it goes back to what you were saying about how these people have literally never heard no in their lives, and then all of a sudden somebody's saying no, and they just are not emotionally fit to take care of it. They just don't know what to do. So guy goes over, whatever it was, a fine, we were speeding or something like that. The driver, the asshole, he was on the phone to the police station demanding to speak to this guy's boss, basically phoning the manager. He was like, in his head, right, he is being stopped by the police in accordance to whatever law or whatever thing that he's broken. And he's like, actually, this is not okay. I am phoning your manager because this is not okay for me. And what basically happened was the driver was just a total cunt. Just a total cunt about it. Just a brat, a baby. You know, he's ripped the ticket out the officer's hand and sped away and called them a bitch and all this kind of stuff. And as he sped away, he's went over the officer's toe. Right? So, you know, if he was just a regular, or if he was just a person comfortable within himself, he would have been like, do you want to know what? I did make that mistake, officer. Yeah, I'll pay the ticket. This is the repercussions of my actions, and I, as an adult, fully accept them. But instead he thought, no, I'm going to make this situation 10 times worse for my fucking self. So he's driving away, and bearing in mind this whole time he's still on the phone to like this police department, being like, you need to send more cop cars. You know, I don't feel safe. He's trying to get me and all this kind of stuff. So because he's run over the police officer's foot, right, the police officers obviously went, you know, this ain't the one. Pulled him over again. Another car's coming, obviously because assaulting a police officer or whatever it is. Yep. The officer smashed the car window open to basically drag this guy out. And it's only when the guy gets dragged out that he starts greeting. That he's like, oh, this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't have happened to me. And you're like,
my God.
How do you go from being fucking top dog, where you're calling the police a bitch, and you're flipping them off, and you know you're speeding away from them, to crying and being like, I don't know how this happened. Please, someone from the cop store. I don't know who it was you were trying to contact at the fucking police department, but do you know what I mean?
You know
it's so weird.
The most crazy shit about that, right, is you can absolutely guarantee that guy is the same guy, right, who would see a video of police brutality of a minority that's like completely unnecessary, like them, like the fucking kind of shit where they're like on a guy's fucking neck or something for like the most minor thing, like just way over the fucking line. And he would literally sit, and his comment on that would be like, if he just did what the police said, this wouldn't have happened to him. That is literally the same kind of person. But as soon as they're in that situation where they're getting pulled over and given a ticket for something they genuinely did wrong, they fucking scream and shout like a big fucking baby.
It's that mentality that, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But these types of people are basically saying, I'm above the law. Aye. I own the law. I am the law, and I can use my due diligence to break the law as I please because it's my world and you're just living in it.
Aye. Fucking hell, man.
It's just so shitty. It's just so shitty. Like I personally, you know, I've as I say, I've been young and stupid, and I've been fucking no fighting with the police, but you know, I've been like, you know, a cheeky wee tit. Try to come out with some excellent banter, and you know, I've learned. They taught me. Or they were like, fake names? No. Come with us. So I, from my youth and from my experiences, know that, you know, if I've been given a ticket for speeding, chances are I've been speeding. You know, I'm not going to phone up the Police Scotland and be like, I know I got this ticket for speeding, but what you don't actually realise is I was speeding because I needed to get home for whatever innocuous reason, and that's why I think that I should be exempt from the law. Exactly. You'd be like, go away. You know, bother somebody else. I think that people, the older some people get, the more they seem to dwindle into being a child again.
It's funny because like the baby comparison is so good, because when babies, like, you know, babies first born and they seem to cry over like every like little discomfort, but when you rationalise it, you're like, you know, this is, to this baby, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to them, because they are a baby and they do not know anything worse, and of course they are crying about this because this is the worst thing ever for them. And then you see it with these fucking, you know, middle-aged grown adults acting the exact same way in situations, and you're just like, man, you just really didn't grow up, did you? Like, you just really did not grow up at all. You're just going to have the slightest inconvenience to you. You're going to scream and shout like a toddler, like it's the worst fucking injustice in the history of mankind.
Mm-hmm. No human being should ever go through the pain of not having a speeding ticket and not being taken seriously that you shouldn't pay it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how awful for that person.
How awful.
So, as you say, like, if these kinds of people really experienced oppression, then they would know how trivial the things that they're going through are.
Aye.
You know, like, there's places in the world where they don't eat. They literally don't have food, or, you know, war-torn areas in the Middle East. You know, they're fleeing horrible, horrible conditions just to get to a place that's safe for them. And, you know,
they'll see that on the news and they'll be like, I bet they don't get asked to wear a mask in Denny's, so they don't really know what pain is.
I mean, they've travelled for 18 hours in a dinghy in the freezing cold with the clothes only on their back, but, you know, have they really been asked to put on a mask?
Oh,
it's
Jesus,
weird.
Man.
It's weird. I mean, I feel like sometimes, like, people, especially when they think that they're being oppressed, they're intentionally ignoring the world and its ills.
Mm-hmm.
Because oppression happens in the world, absolutely. Is it oppression asking for you to take a vaccine that would potentially stop the spread of a deadly disease and wear a mask out of politeness so that other people do not get your germs? Whether you have COVID, whether you have the cold, whatever it is. That's not oppression.
But to them it is.
But to them it is. It's so weird. How can you go through your life and, especially, you know, a lot of these people claim to have Christian values.
Mm.
It's so that's what I don't understand. Like, I was, you know, I went to Bible camp and you know, I've read the Bible, and I honestly can't, like, I can't even fathom you know, with all that knowledge, going, do you want to know what? I'm not wearing a mask, and do you want to know what? I'm not doing that, and no, I'll not be doing that either.
Love
Does that make sense?
Love thy neighbour, unless they've got a different opinion than you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you absolutely, you know, be as horrible as you want.
Love thy neighbour unless they're a liberal leftist cuck. And if they don't have any guns, then they're just asking for somebody to break into their house.
Yep.
Do you know, it's just so weird. It's so weird. But enough about shitty people. Let's just talk about the best people in the world. Me and you.
I watched Annihilation last night.
You watched Annihilation.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me everything. I need a review. 800 word essay.
Fucking, I don't really know what happened.
Right, okay.
It's one of the movies where I walk away from it and I'm like, I enjoyed what I watched, but I really don't know what the fuck happened. I'm just like, they really just left it very open-ended with what the fuck actually happened, what the actual story really was.
They did. I mean, spoilers for Annihilation, obviously.
It's been out for a while. If you have not seen it by now, then just go watch it if you don't want spoilers. But we're not going to sit here and pretend. We're not going to sit here and not talk about it.
No, I'm not going to sit here and code names and stuff like that. But essentially, the ending for me, or the ending that I got, and I won't talk about the books because the books are slightly different from the movie. But from the movie, the ending that I got was that essentially whatever this shimmer is, they literally cannot stop it. And it will just grow until it consumes the earth. Or have they stopped it? Who knows?
It's like a living mirror or something. It's really strange.
I mean, to me, it almost kind of seemed like the shimmer itself was like I could only describe it as like a cancerous cell, and the Earth was the cell, and the Shimmer is the cancer, and the Shimmer's trying to replicate this. Do you know what I mean? Like it's trying to replicate itself using the cell or the Earth as a cell. So like a lot of the stuff that's being replicated is Earth-like, but not quite Earth. It's that kind of uncanny valley,
and it's causing it causes obviously all the crazy mutations and shit to happen to all the living things that are inside of it. It's fucking.
I mean, I as somebody like likes biology and stuff like that, I was absolutely enthralled by the creature designs, the like the botany, the flowers, all that kind of stuff. It was just it's a really rich world, I think, that would kind of be good to travel in.
It was weird because like I said before, I remember when it was first out on Netflix that I was sitting with somebody who was watching. I think it was Frank. I don't know, but I was like kind of just chilling, and they put it on, and I saw there was a few scenes that when they came up, I was like, oh, I remember seeing this actually. Like I vaguely remember seeing this scene before, but I didn't have any context of what was going on because I wasn't really watching it. I think the first one that I really remembered or recognised was when one of the women have the other three tied up, and she's like losing her mind, and then the bear thing shows up.
That is
like
that. So
that scene.
tense.
I was like, I vaguely remember seeing this, like them all tied up and her going after nut. But
that scene in that house is so tense. It's so tense because you've obviously got the point of view is that you know that you're strapped to the chair, and you have no control in an already uncontrollable kind of environment. And did you shit yourself when that bear did the jump scare?
The first time you see it?
I don't know when it is, but there's a jump scare with that bear, and I think it lunges at the camera or something. I've not seen it in a while, but
I think it might be the first time it appears, because I remember when it first appears, I genuinely went back to watch again because I was like, what the fuck just happened? Because it's when they're all just storming about. I think it's like the first night or something that they're...
the night, yeah.
And they hear the noise and they'll look and they see the fence has been torn open, and they're like, what the fuck's going on? And then it literally just comes out anywhere and just grabs one of them and just drags her away.
Yeah.
And I remember like when that first, I was just sitting there chilling, watching, and then when it just like grabbed her and went, I was like, what the fuck was that? That just happened. I had to like go back and watch it again because I was like so confused at what just happened.
It's like it is a kind of in those kind of parts, it does kind of really skip past it because it wants you to, or after the feeling that I got was that it wants you to be in that confused state where it's like, well, what did just happen?
It's a great. I really enjoy the movies that when they have some kind of monster, they're not too quick to show you what it looks like.
Oh yeah. You need that mystery.
They have the mystery of this. There's a thing, it's attacking them. It will show you attacking them, but it'll be covered in darkness and all that, and you only really see what it was. So you'll be like, "What the fuck was that?"
See, it's funny. Like you called it a bear, right? Now,
I mean,
as a bear, right?
It seems like that's what it was to begin with, maybe, and then it seems to have changed.
But if you look at the other kind of wildlife, you've got an alligator with shark teeth that's white and albino. You have this kind of bear thing. I think that while it may be primarily a bear, I think there's aspects of a wolf in there, like especially with the prowling and stuff like that it does, the hunting. Bears typically wouldn't do that, I don't think. So, and I also think there's like small elements of like other animals in it, but that's to me that's the scary thing, because it is not, you know, if you have a bear in front of you, you know that that's a bear. If you had this thing in front of you, your brain can't even comprehend what it is to find like a reaction. You know, the fight or flight. Your brain is just like, what the fuck is that?
Aye, the whole fucking the whole copying speech thing is so freaky.
Insidious, very insidious.
It's so strange because it's like they think like because they say they think that it's able to do that because as the woman was like getting killed by it, that it's her like mind or whatever mutated into the thing, and it's just like fucking.
But I mean, it makes sense for like this is the thing, like it makes me think that there's a wee bit more to it than it's just a bear that kind of copied her, because you know it's not like when she was screaming for help that they came and ran. So that creature has no kind of, as far as we know, it has no experience of that call being something that people run towards.
Aye.
So to me, it's more of like a mimic of, you know, if I copy what that's, you know, like a parrot.
Aye.
You know, like a parrot just copies something that it hears and waits on the reaction kind of thing. That's what I think it was kind of doing, but it could be anything. The amalgamation of anything that was in that kind of shimmer, it literally could be anything. It could be another person. It literally could be a person that's mutated.
True. What
was your favourite part?
Ooh. I think the whole lighthouse scene is pretty insane.
Yeah, very insane.
It's the fucking, and I don't know if it did. I don't know if I missed it or no in the actual movie, or if they just didn't actually confirm it or no. But it seems like they didn't. If we don't know if Kane is actually, if it's actually him. Like, is it actually the original him that got it, or is it the thing that mutated and copied him that did it? Because he doesn't seem to know.
I mean, I think that it is the copy that got out, and the only reason I'm saying that it's the copy that got out is when he puts the grenade in his hand and blows it up. There's like a very notable area in which that blew up. But when Natalie Portman does it to her doppelganger, that the thing that's holding it stays on fire.
Aye, that's true.
The fire doesn't burn out. It seems like whatever that thing's made of is very combustible.
Aye, that's true.
But they didn't. They kind of did leave it ambiguous in the movie. But only because of that, I would say that it was the copy that went outside, and that's the reason why it was dying, because it was out the shimmer, or it was out its place of origin. It's out its atmosphere, like a fish trying to breathe on land, kind of thing. But I absolutely loved the movie. I loved the music. I loved the ideas that it proposed. Great movie.
It was pretty enjoyable.
What did you think of? How do I describe it? This thing before it shaped into a humanoid and then morphed into Natalie Portman. It was like this amorphous thing eating itself. Do you know what I mean?
It kind of reminded me of. It made me think of a specific thing, and I can't remember what the fuck it's called. Is it a fractal? Is that the word I'm thinking of?
Fractal. Is that like a kaleidoscope thing?
Is the infinite fractal is what it made me think of. It's that it's complex pattern that are self-similar across different scales, and it's just like an infinite repeating pattern, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what it made me think of. Like, I couldn't remember the name of it last night when I was watching, but I was like, that reminds me of that thing. That's like, it's like this just infinite. That's what it made me think of.
It kind of reminded me, now that you say that, definitely a fractal, but it reminded me of those kind of like dreamscapes that Google comes up with. You know how when you ask Google, what does this look like?
Oh.
I feel like that's what an eye would look like. Because it was very eye-like. It was like there was a center.
Yeah.
But yeah. But it was just very dreamy. Like, it was just, I love a movie that shows me something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like, in story and the bad guy, whatever it is, a movie that shows me something I've never seen before is an automatic win. And I've definitely never seen anything like that.
It definitely had a very unique idea. Pretty crazy shit.
But the books are a bit buck wild. I like the first book, just because it kind of opened up a little bit more on the story Annihilation. I didn't like the sequels because they don't. The first book's of Natalie Portman's character's perspective, but the other two books aren't. They're from like other people within the organisation that's kind of trying to tackle the thing.
Okay.
But I mean, are you bothered about spoilers for the book?
No, I'm never going to read the book. But like at the end of the movie, the first movie, they say like the shimmer seemed to have disappeared. So I'm assuming that in the other books it's not, and it like comes back or shows up again somehow.
It literally just doesn't go away. It's just literally there, and that's it. Which I liked it better that way, because it's a very American thing in it. We'll just go up into the centre of it and blow it up, and it'll be fine. But in the books, Natalie Portman's character, because she's affected by the shimmer, ends up turning into this gargantuan leviathan kind of sea monster creature. With like thousands and thousands of eyes. And I really like that because in the movie, it obviously shows you the lighthouse. Yeah?
Yeah.
And it shows you how the shimmer has affected the land.
Yeah.
But
like
obviously
glass, crystal trees and shit.
Exactly. And then on the other half of the lighthouse is obviously the sea. And you don't get to see how it's affected the sea. So it leads me to believe that as much on land as, it's almost on land, it seems like it's developing or creating an apex predator.
Aye.
Like crocodile or the bear, whatever it is, it's creating some sort of apex predator. And I would have just loved to have seen what they would have done underwater.
I mean, fucking shit that lives underwater is already pretty crazy.
Exactly, cursed.
So, that would be pretty insane, actually.
Maybe if there is a sequel, but like the sequel books, they don't focus on the sea either. They just really focus on what's going on around the island or going on or around the lighthouse. I'm so glad you watched that. Did you think it was like worth your while viewing?
No.
Because you do get some movies where you're like, oh, I didn't really enjoy that much.
No, I greatly enjoyed it. I was just I was sitting last night. I've started up a new season of the Pokemon Draft League that I do with people, and the draft is currently happening. People are drafting their teams, and last night I was just kind of sitting waiting on other people drafting until it got to my turn, and I had nothing to do. I was just sitting bored, and I was like, you know what? I'll go watch that fucking Annihilation since I'm not doing anything, and I can talk about it with John tomorrow. So I just went and watched it and had a pretty good time with it. Quite enjoyed it.
It's a very interesting movie. Interesting movie.
Yeah.
Obviously this means now that I need to have watched 4 seasons of Attack on Titan.
I mean,
or the 10 years of One Piece by next week.
I feel like you should at least, with whatever one you want to start, just watch the first. Well, with One Piece is maybe a bit different. You probably have to watch a bit more. But with Attack on Titan, I think you could honestly just watch the first episode and you'll know whether you're going to like it or not. Because you'll know for the first episode, like, is this something I want to watch more of? Is this, is this world they've introduced to me something I want to explore and find out what's going on,
I certainly know the premise of it, Attack on Titan, and I think I have seen one episode. I'm sure I've seen the first episode. In the first episode, the tree. I'm just going to call them tree slingers, okay? Because I don't know what the name of the people are, but the tree slingers are out in the trees, and they get attacked, obviously, by a Titan, and they lose a couple of people, and then I think they're trying to race back to the city without the Titan following them. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I think
if it's the episode I'm thinking, that's like halfway through the first season that happens.
Right. Okay. So I've seen a bit, but yeah, from what I've seen, from what I've heard, read, all that kind of stuff, I would say I'm definitely interested. I would be interested to see, because obviously I won't say any spoilers, but I'm aware of the Titans. They're not their purpose, I don't think, but I'm aware that there's a secret behind them, or at least one secret behind them, which is really interesting. Asks obviously a lot more questions.
There's a lot of mystery, yeah.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing that mystery unravel. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're extremely lucky because you're going to start watching it basically by the time you get, if you started watching it like soon, by the time you get caught up, the whole series will be finished pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm so, like, for me, I watched the first season as it came out, and we had to wait like 3 years for the second season. And then every other season afterwards was like a year and a half to start. But the gap between the first and second season was so fucking long. It was, and it ended on a fucking cliffhanger as well. So it was just like, oh my god.
Let me ask you this. Like, it just got me thinking there. Like, your experience is obviously like you've seen the seasons in real time, so you've had to wait. Like, and I can obviously just sit and binge them, and I don't have to wait. Do you think that because you've waited, that the story's more impactful towards you than it would be, say, me? Because obviously, like you said that, like, oh, I'd waited 2 years and then a year and a half. So obviously a lot can happen in that 2 years, or that, say, 3 years. So like a lot of theories, a lot of discussions, all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of essentially just skipping all that, all the speculation, and just getting straight to the details.
I mean, that's, do you think that makes? I don't think it'll really. No, I don't think it'll really lessen the experience of watching it that much at all. It's definitely nice having. That is the nice thing about watching something that's like, as it's progressing, as you can, like, get into deep discussions about what you think's going to happen and all that kind of stuff.
It's part of the fandom,
which is enjoyable to do, for sure.
I mean, I loved doing that when Game of Thrones was on the air. I loved doing that with Game of Thrones, especially when they went past the point of the books. That was something that was really fun for me, which was like, oh my god, what's going to happen? What's nobody knows. I don't know. I guess I feel like what I'm kind of trying to say is that I feel like there's maybe something a wee bit missed in that respect. If you are kind of late to a game or a series,
I could get that.
Because like, especially with One Piece, like, you've watched One Piece for how many years now?
God, I don't even. I was still in. When I started it when I was living in that house that was like the one room.
Oh, in the top end, near the Montrose, yeah.
I was living there when I started it. So. Wow. And that was quite a while ago. So.
That was quite a while ago.
I was like 8 to 10 years ago, probably, something like that.
Yeah.
maybe even longer. So, but the thing is, right, I would say when it comes to like One Piece and Attack on Titan, I'm definitely more involved in reading theories and discussions and all that kind of stuff about One Piece weekly than I was about with Attack on Titan. But that's mostly because with One Piece I read the manga every week, so I'm never ever
Out the loop.
worried about being out of the loop or like seeing spoilers for stuff, because as soon as the new chapter drops, I read it immediately. But whereas with Attack on Titan, I only ever watched the anime, and the manga was always ahead of it. So like I always feared to read shit about it online, and I would see like accidentally go into like manga discussions, and I would end up seeing shit that I didn't know about. So I didn't get as involved with Attack on Titan in that sense, but
it is a weird thing, obviously, because the day and the age that we are, there's a hell of a lot of media out there that, you know, they've got their fan bases, but then you know, those fan bases can grow wildly, and then all of a sudden everybody's asking, oh my god, what do I need to catch up on? And I don't know, I know you said that there wouldn't be a difference in experience for you, but I think there is definitely a difference in experience for me. Like, if I was to binge watch a show, I feel like I wouldn't get the full gravity of it. I would be kind of rushing to the end, just, you know, to have that, you know, I think it's a human thing where you just want things to wrap up nicely and stories to end, you know, in a really comfortable way. And I think for me, that if I was to binge watch something, I know I would rush it. I'd be, you know, I would kind of skip maybe the first episode in the season, you know, because I'll find out in the next episode what happened. I don't know if I would take it seriously if, say, it was an episode a week and then like a hiatus between seasons.
I can understand. I can understand that. I don't think I get as bothered by that. There's definitely been some shows and anime and stuff that I have never seen that I have just totally finished that I go and binge watch, and I still very much enjoy it. So
don't get me wrong, like I do love a good binge watch. I don't know, like especially I think with One Piece, the way that you've spoke to me about it, it makes me want to kind of watch one a week or a couple of episodes a week.
I'll tell you this, for One Piece, I mean, early on you could probably watch a couple a week, but I'll just, there is a point later in the series where the pacing is quite bad in the anime, and if you watch one episode a week, it'll take you fucking forever to actually see it happening, because they do have an issue. The anime does have an issue later on with being badly paced to the point where some episodes, like, literally nothing happens, because they're so desperate to not try and catch up to the manga that they're just like, oh, we have to pad it out with all this shit, and it's just like, wow, that episode's really nothing really progressed at all. So
like an episode of them just sitting eating ramen.
It's just
that's the whole episode, and the whole episode is them discussing what their favourite toppings on ramen.
It's just
that kind of shit.
Well, no, not even that. No, not even that. It's just, it'll just be shit of, let's pad this episode out with a constant long shots of things and constantly cutting to the same shot and reactionary faces from the fodder enemies. Just shit like that. They just extend shit and you're just like, come on.
Yeah. That kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week, where if you're taking your audience for an idiot.
It's,
you know,
I really honestly wish that One Piece was a seasonal anime and not a weekly one, because it struggles so much with the pacing in the later half of the series. It's a shame, because the manga's definitely a lot better to me, in my opinion, than the anime can be great. There's definitely times where the animes can be a lot better than the manga, obviously, because, you know, especially like obviously things like fight scenes and that will usually be better animated than they will in a manga, but there's the pacing issues are a nightmare. But I mean, if you were, there are options around that. There are things like One Piece that are like edited versions of the show.
Right.
That people have made. It's like, we've cut out all the bullshit and filler, and it's just edited to be closer to the manga in terms of the pacing. It's a lot better, which is nice. But I can feel a bit jarring sometimes with editing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Like, who are they to decide? These are the things that are irrelevant. I mean, because anything could be relevant in future episodes. That's what I would probably rather watch the full thing and be bored than have an abridged version and miss things that I think I would like.
I mean, that's the thing. The manga, the animes, they're not completely like guilty of only ever adding shit that's like not necessarily. Like they've absolutely added stuff sometimes that's like, oh, that's actually made that a bit better. Like they'll be like, oh, this, Oda's like, oh well, didn't really have time to flesh out this fight scene between these two specific characters in this arc, so it kind of got skipped over and we didn't really see much of it. But then the anime, they can be like, oh, we'll extend the fight a bit and show some more, back and forth in it.
Yeah.
And that can like sometimes that can be better. Where it's like, oh, that's great that they extended that, made that a bit, made that go a bit longer and stuff. That is nice.
Elaborated.
But that's like that's the minority of the time. It is the majority of the pacing can be pretty bad. But that is the one benefit of binging One Piece, is you can watch as many episodes as you want. And you're not, stuck there where like, oh, nothing happened this episode. I have to wait a week to see the next one.
I mean, they're only 20 minutes long, aren't they? So, I mean, you could. I mean, if you watch 3 episodes a week, I don't know.
I mean, just watch it at whatever pace you think is best. I guess. I could imagine. As the later you get in the series, the more episodes you'd probably want to watch at a time. But I mean, just as a good example of the pacing of the anime, the first I think there's a thing somebody did where they went over all the arcs of the anime and they figured out the average chapters that get covered per episode, and it's like the first half of the series, it's usually a chapter and a half to 2 chapters per episode. And then, in the later half of the series, it's very often less than a full chapter gets covered in an episode.
Right.
So it's quite the difference, how much shit content is actually getting covered in a full episode. So
I'll do as I say, I definitely do want to watch it. I think it's just probably finding the right time to get into it for me, because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just going to watch it and just to get it done because I want to see it, and then end up being absolutely miserable watching it because I'm just not in the mood for it. I'm hoping that I just kind of wake up one day and I'm like, today's the day, fire it on, and I just binge it. I just absolutely fly through it. And I mean, listen, I know enough about the world and the prospect of the world, and I've seen you obviously watch some episodes. So, there's maybe some characters I know or some development that is maybe kind of being spoiled a little bit. I don't know. I think I'd be excited, obviously, to watch it from the start and be like, wow, I remember this really big moment that Rid was watching. How did we get there? How did we get there?
And that's the thing, starting it is the hardest part, because once you've started it, it's gonna bring the things, and once you've started it, you'll have more of a want to continue, because you'll want to know what's happening. You'll be like, oh, I want to know what happens to this character, or what happens with this story, or where this goes, or what this mystery is that they've thingied, and aye.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting world. As I say, I like a world that shows me something I've never seen before, and I've certainly never seen super powered pirates powered by fruit.
It is quite a world. It is, in my opinion, the absolute best thing about One Piece is the world building. It is the absolute best thing about it, and it's some of the best world building I've ever seen in any series that I've ever watched or read or whatever.
It would make it. it sounds like you would kind of watch not a spin-off, but you would watch maybe like a chapter of One Piece that wasn't focused on the Straw Hats.
That is a fairly common thing, to be honest.
Right.
I mean,
there's
a
lot of One Piece fans.
There is. I mean, there's literally an entire arc that has none of the Straw Hats in it for the entire thing. Okay. It's not a very long arc, but it's an arc that happens. None of them are even in it. It's just stories about other things that are happening in the world.
And is it worthwhile watching? Is it
it's like some of the best shit. You're just like, oh, I want to know what's going on in the world. I want to know what's going on with these people and these people, because everything affects everybody, and because that's what it is. It's a living, breathing world. So shit that happens with this thing is like, oh, that's going to affect things with the Straw Hats, even though they're not involved in this right now, as it will affect the world in a big way. It's exciting shit to see.
That's the sign of a good story, that you as a fan, you're like, even though that this is, some might call the main cast or the main story or whatever, it's the world, it's the built up that gets you, that really makes you want to keep watching, or would make you watch something or a different kind of adventure, but as long as it's in that world. It's a sign of a good story, definitely.
You're just you're as invested in the world as you are with fucking Luffy's journey, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just, it'll cut away for them to a specific thing. You'll be like, oh, there's some shit going
on. What are you having for dinner tonight?
I have no idea. I've not eaten yet today, so I don't know.
I don't know how many times or weeks that I'm going to ask you the same thing, and hope that one day you're like, John, do you want to know what? I decided to look after myself today, and I started the day with a yogurt, and then I was a wee bit more hungry later down the line, so I had a sandwich. Just something that would let me know that you're eating. You're eating well.
I'm going to eat. I'll probably have a wee sandwich, and then later on the night I'll maybe I'll have some pie. I've got some pies in the fridge that I should eat. So I'll have a wee
nice.
Pie and chips.
I had pie last night. I was in the Co-op and I seen like these really fancy steak pies that were a $5 or something like that, and they were reduced to $1.50. I was like, well, that's cheaper than Greg's. Get me that. So I ate them.
Good shit. I was a greedy bastard last night and had a takeaway.
What'd you have?
I got a burger and chips and some chicken pakora.
Glutton.
Glutton. Absolutely glutton. My stomach is not happy with it.
Hold on. Everybody just gather round, because hold on. Did you say you had chicken pakora?
Aye.
I have never, in the 26 years I have known you, to eat like spicy Indian food, or it's a mission and a half to try and get you to eat something out of Chinese, and you're just sitting here openly telling me that you're scoffing pakora.
I mean, it's not that spicy.
I mean,
I don't eat spicy stuff often, but I don't mind spicy. I quite like jalapenos on pizza. As a topping. I
never seen you eat jalapenos on a pizza. Never.
I like. I mean, chicken powder. It's just chicken, but it's it's a bit spicy, but it's just chicken. It's not like it's any crazy thing.
It's just fried chicken, yeah. Although that's just so weird to hear that. Like for context, for the listeners, I eat a fair bit, and I eat pretty much. I'm very indiscriminate when I eat. As long as it tastes nice, or it doesn't really matter to me. But you, on the other hand, are a very different person. You are very particular about what you eat.
I'm definitely. I don't think I'm a very picky eater, but I know what I like, and I usually don't stray very far from the things that I know I like.
You're particular, yes. I would say that, and part of that particularity, I have never ever conceived chicken pakora to be part of that.
I mean, I think usually in the past, the only time I will have eaten chicken pakora is if it's come as part of like a munchie box or something.
Party food, yeah.
Like it's something extra that's there, as opposed to something I specifically order. But I don't know. I just fancied some chicken pakora.
No,
So.
I certainly don't want to like I don't know, embarrass you or anything like that in the pod. But
right.
I'm certainly not calling you a liar either. I'm just saying I find it a little difficult to deal with, this bombshell that you've landed on me.
Is it a bombshell?
The bombshell that apparently we could go out to like a curry house or something like that. You know, the possibility that I never thought we'd have, and you're openly telling me here that you're eating vindaloos. You're sitting that
at no point did I say I'd eat a vindaloo. I don't really like curry, to be honest.
You're telling me that, you know, that your weekend jalfrezi on a Saturday is all that you live for. I mean, who are you?
I mean,
I don't know you. I don't know.
You're really gonna sit there. You're really gonna sit there and act as if I'm fucking. As if it's insane that I'd eat fucking chicken pakora when I fucking. When I openly like things like sushi and that. It's not like I'm sitting here as the most vanilla, like some vanilla fucking cunt that's like never eats anything outside of fucking, you know, cheeseburgers and.
You're right.
And
you're
stuff
right.
Like...
I mean, hey, listen. I was certainly not insinuating that you only eat fast food. I was certainly just trying to say that you're you know, you've got a very particular diet. You like what you like. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of shocked that apparently you've been eating jalapeno poppers with spicy dip. Okay. That you've been doing lines Madras curry powder for some reason. Oh, I mean, who are you? I don't know you. Just to put it in like comparison terms for the listeners, this would be like if I turned up to Rid and was like, I didn't eat anything. Alarm bells would be ringing. You'd be like, "You've no ate."
I just don't think it's that crazy.
It's really not.
I just had some chicken pakora. Like,
I just can't believe it. It's just honestly, like, see how see when you first said it, I actually tapped like the mic and the ears to make sure that I was like hearing it correctly.
Jesus.
I was just absolutely flabbergasted that you've ate some chicken pakora.
Insane.
So obviously, you know, you're having a lamb boon of the night with some mango chutney and poppadoms.
I absolutely would not do that to my stomach 2 nights in a row.
I mean, with it being too crass, what's caused the upset stomach? Do you think it was the pakora or do you think it was the spice?
I think it's just general, just the fact that it's greasy as fuck fast food. To be honest.
Yeah.
I don't exactly have the healthiest diet normally, so adding something even more unhealthy, like that, it's probably not a good idea. Also, just money wise, I'm not going to sit here and order a takeaway 2 nights in a row when I've got plenty of food in there that I can just make.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy your curry pies tonight.
Scotch pie, but close enough.
Is it? I'm getting to the point in the jokes now where I'm finding it difficult to get things to just jump into my brain. So like I've already hit you with like 3 different types of curries. I'm trying to think of like different spices now. But do you know what? There's plenty of jokes for next time. I'm going to go and check on the puppies and maybe have some food myself.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing for the rest of the night?
Are
you doing your Pokemon?
Probably gonna be doing. I'd still have to plan some picks that I want to take for my team.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be sitting doing that and just watching some Twitch and YouTube and shit while I do that.
Nice. I'll probably keep it easy, fairly quiet. Can't be bothered. I'm actually kind of tired myself, so maybe just relax. I mean to say, are you going to upload that reaction to Bitcoin Land or whatever it was?
Oh fuck! I do need to do that still. There's a bunch of fucking things from my stream that I need to like make into videos and upload as well. I'm gonna have to get on that.
because I've been waiting to see it because I don't want to Google it again in case I see it. But I'd be happy seeing me react to it.
I'll try and get that up as well.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm your boss sometimes. Like sometimes, like when I watch the pods back, I'll be like, he's not done that. He's not done that. You know.
I mean,
I'm writing up like a, what do you call them? Performance review things. So I can like take you into the office and go like that. So Stephen, we have some concerns about your work ethic. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Honestly, I think if I don't know, do you think it's the sign of growing up that kind of stuff just is like immaterial? You know, like if you were doing your job and like you got pulled in and people were like, yeah, we think that you should be doing this or X, Y, and Z, you'd be like, good for them. I'm doing what I'm doing, so
yeah, my work's getting done. That's all you can ask of me.
Exactly, like the work's being done. I'm meeting minimum contracts and you're paying me minimum wage. Please, let's not expect miracles for each other here.
Right. Like, if that paycheck grows, maybe I'll put in more of an effort.
Very true. Very true. Pay me for the work I put in.
Yeah.
But that's a wrap, listeners,
Yay.
on this week's episode. Join us next week where we journey further into Rid's new culinary tastes and we take a trip to Pakistan to try out some curries.
I don't even like curry.
I know you've said that, but I'm just glossing right past it for these jokes.
Christ.
But listeners, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Fucking Lees.